Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell.
I am inevitable. Oh yeah. This is another Chaos Central production. It's your boy Comet Chat with another fire intro. Rule of 3 is the name of the show, and I made it here for my main man, Mr. Chris Knight. I hope you like it, bro. So here we go. Well, the Rule of 3 is the name of the show. It stars Chris Knight, Comet Chat, and Nzo. Third Monday of the month at 9 o'clock, so don't be late, cause that's when the fun starts. We talk about this, we talk about that. 5 questions, decide fiction or is it fact? 3 cats that all came together like Run DMC. We're tougher than leather, so grab a seat, strap on in. The Rule of 3 is about to begin, so let's go. Rule of 3 is a show, Chaos Central is the channel. It stars me, Chris Knight, and Nzo. 3 cats with one singular vision to make this channel the best channel on YouTube, the best channel on the planet. Peace.
Is there any stuff?
What is up, everybody? I am Chris Knight. This is the Rule of 3 on Chaos Central. Good to have you guys all here tonight. You got the usual suspects. We're going to get to them and see what they've got going on. So let's start. Nzo, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, what you got going on? Tell them about those watch parties, those panels you're doing, and all that good stuff. Make sure you unmute too. There you go. Okay.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing, bro. I don't need you to tell me to unmute. I know I was muted. All right. Bigger Ford Entertainment, guys. What's up? You know where to find me. But right now, you can find me here on Chaos Central with Danny and Chris Knight. So that's all you need to know.
There you go. Very good. And Danny, tell everybody about yourself.
Remember my channel, The Road to Wisdom, on Mondays and on Friday mornings, usually between 6:45, 7:15 a.m. Upload my videos. Also, you can catch me on the Hangout on Wednesdays, tomorrow night. You can catch me on Stones Live on Sunday nights.
Good. And I am Chris Knight. The Real Review 3000 is my channel. Of course, I'm over here with these 3 guys. Typically the first Monday, first 3 Mondays of the month. I think we did all Tuesdays this month, but that was for reasons, and that happens sometimes. So make sure that you check us out here. Make sure you check out the guys at their stuff. You can check me out on the weekly wrap-up. That's the thing I've been doing recently. We are getting ready to get to some of the other shows. I'm wrapping up, figuring out who's on what and who's won, who hasn't won on things like the Rumble and Name That Tune. So we'll see what we can do with that. But for right now, we're going to get into this 3 topics, 3 minutes each and 3 minutes as a group. We're going to be talking about several things. So let's get to it. I'm going to share the screen right now. If I can. Here we go. Share that. All right. Danny, which one you want?
Go with Nzo first. I'm in the middle of something.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, Nzo, which one do you want?
I already know what number I'm going to take. Number 1, please.
Of course, it's number 1. Let me make sure that.
Hey, Dandelion, how you doing?
There we go. Make sure I have that up, though. What's going on, Dandelion? Good to have you in here. Yes, good evening. All right, number 1. It is looking at the massive new bundles for ad-free streaming, the constant price hikes, and the fact that 70% of streaming hours now include commercials. Did the cord-cutting revolution fail? And did we just spend 10 years destroying traditional television models only to accidentally rebuild the exact same expensive ad-filled model we were originally trying to escape.
Okay.
So here's your 3 minutes, and your time starts now.
110 fucking percent it was a fail. These fucking ads have been driving me crazy, especially the ones on YouTube, right? When YouTube started the ads, it was like you get one ad, you can skip it, then boom. Now they go with 3 ads in your YouTube videos before you even get to start the video, and then the amount of ads that you get in between. Now you want to go talk to streaming. When streaming first started, streaming was supposed to be ad free. That's what it was marketed as. Come watch your movies. It wasn't TV, it was just movies at the time. But come watch your movies, no ads, no worries about that. Now, if you don't want ads, you got to pay extra money. And when you don't get the ads, because I have Prime and I don't have, see, Prime is funny because some of the streaming services on that, so like MGM Plus, you have Shutter, you have all kinds of other ones, Apple TV, Crave, you can get that all in your Amazon Prime, right? And some of them no ads whatsoever. But I think it's when we were doing the watch party and we were doing the breakdown, not the watch party, but the breakdown for, it was either Cross or one of those episodes. And I kept getting ads. Like, I don't pay for these services to get ads. I don't want to see ads. You can't skip them, so you got to watch them. Sometimes you get 2, 3 ads in a row. And what's the difference between this and TV now? Not to mention the fact that you have a streaming service, which is supposed to have no ads, but yet your episodes are still 45 minutes like they were on cable TV. I really don't understand what the issue is with this, and you are absolutely correct. With all the streaming services now, Prime, Crave, Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount, all of these streaming services, you're paying just as much as you would pay if you had regular cable TV. What is the difference? You're better off in just getting cable TV, paying a certain rate, getting all the channels you want, and then watching the commercials, because it's going to be the same damn thing with streaming service. Netflix price is already, for me, up to 25, almost $30. Not to mention the fact that you can't share your account on Netflix anymore, right? So if my son wants to use my Netflix, he has to get his own, or I got to pay extra to put my son on my account so that he can use Netflix at his house. What's the point? Streaming services now, if you look at the prices of all of them and you add them up with the prices you're paying for streaming services and the price you would pay for probably just basic TV, you're paying way more for the streaming services. So yes, it was a total disaster and it's a waste of time right now.
Here you go. Danny, you back?
No, I'm gonna be a minute. Just go ahead. I'll catch up. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Oh, you good. You good. Okay. So 3 minutes here. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Here's the problem. Like you said, Amazon for $4.99. You can have Amazon Prime, which is 100 plus, like 150 plus a year, whatever it is. You can have Amazon Prime, and you still have to pay $4.99 more to get Prime Video without ads. And then, like you said, there's lots of other stuff, but like all their little channels they have on there and stuff, they all have ads. And then, either you pay more for HBO Max or you get ads, pay more for Disney or you get ads, pay more for Hulu or you get ads, or you bundle them all together, but you're still paying more because if you want ad free, you got to pay more. Everything has an ad free price now, which is really not much different than it used to be with cable and things like that. The only difference I would say that you get out of it is that you can choose certain things when you want to watch them instead of having to wait for it. I mean, that's the biggest difference between cable and streaming. But, and I've said this, as soon as they find a way to pilfer that money there, basically this is the studios and TV people saying we weren't getting enough money from HBO and stuff like that. We want to actually control more of it. So these companies are now the ones who provide it instead of it going through, Time Warner or Spectrum or Cox Television or Infinity or whoever has it. It's like they actually now are like, we're in charge of it. So we get more of that money. And I've said it, as soon as they figure out how to place a number on how many people are watching on your screen or on your screens in your house, they will find a way to start charging more for what they'll call premium content, which would be your movies. Instead of coming out streaming in 6 weeks or whatever it is, they'll say you can get it in 6 weeks, but you're going to have to pay this much because we know you want to see it. So it'll be like a new model of Netflix or Blockbuster back in the day. You had to pay more for the new movies and stuff like that. They're going to do that every which way that they can get money from you. And yeah, I think that everybody thought, wow, look at this streaming. Wow, this is awesome. I can sit in my house. I can watch anything I want when I want. Maybe not when it first started, but now I can watch it. And in the past probably 6 years since COVID, when that boomed during COVID time, man, they're just finding every which way to pull money from you. And if you don't watch it, you don't even think about it. At least with the cable bill, you got hit every month. Now you got like 16 different things that might pull from your account at different times. So you never really see it. It's just little chunks here and there. But overall, you're probably paying more than you did originally with cable. Maybe. I don't know. Danny, here you go. 3 minutes. Oh, let me
move the clock out of the way.
Yeah, I can. I'll read it again though for you here.
All right.
I'm looking at the massive new bundles for ad-free streaming, the constant price hikes, and the fact that 70% of streaming hours now include commercials. Did the cord-cutting revolution fail? And did we just spend the last 10 years destroying traditional television models only to accidentally rebuild the exact same expensive ad-filled model where we were originally trying to escape?
Okay.
All right. 3 minutes and your time starts now.
I don't think we built it yet, but we're definitely on the way to building it because I remember when I first got over to streaming, it wasn't all these ads and stuff. Now, and most times when I watch Nzo's show in particular, and I don't know exactly why, I'm not trying to say it's in a derogatory way, ads pop up, and it's some of the most aggravating, irritating things that happen. Usually 2 days a week at my sheriff's office, we have devotion. And I'm trying to play a video, in 5 or 6, 7 minutes into it, an ad pops up, and so it can be very distracting, very aggravating. And I think that's done intentionally because if you get aggravated and agitated enough, you just go ahead and pay that extra 3, 4, 5, whatever the amount may be. I'm just tired of this, and I think a lot of times that's what they do. It's kind of like the waterboarding and kind of like the drip that we have back in the day when people used to try to torture people with that water drip. You just had enough of it. Enough, okay, whatever. Um, and I think we're well on the way to becoming creating that monster that is going to make us pay even more than traditional TV. It was aggravating, especially when you're watching a good show to have 4 or 5 commercial breaks. Usually, a show that is slated for an hour, you only actually get 35 to 45 minutes of actual show time. Now they kind of pull the okey doke and the bait and switch when they give us the streaming, but now it's slowly becoming an irritant. And I refuse to pay extra for no ads. I just kind of grin and bear it. But there's sometimes when you're really engrossed in a situation, I think they do that on purpose, and they'll throw in an ad, and sometimes it'll throw you off a rhythm, or sometimes it'll make you miss something based on where they restart that particular show you're watching. So
Mhm.
I definitely think that it is something that is intentional. That's something that it is that because we gave them our business as customers, that they should give us a courtesy, not even charge us for that. But of course, that's not the way the world works because if they can charge you to take 10 breaths of air to your every 5, then they'll start doing that. But this is the world we live in. I don't think it's going to change. But one thing is going to that I definitely miss about what I'm doing now is DVR. That is to me that is the greatest thing man has ever created. And now with the system that I use, that we don't have opportunity to DVR,
No.
so you're kind of at the mercy of either being home or hoping that that particular show that you watch and that you invest in has multiple replays, kind of like TNT. Sometimes the HBO's on there. They got 10 different HBOs. So if you miss it on one, you get to see it on the other one and that kind of stuff. So you kind of almost made to buy that extra package because if you really invest in the show, you're gonna pay it to watch it to see.
Yeah. 3 minutes. Let's talk about this together, guys.
Hold on. Let me say this, right? So for Amazon Prime, my subscriptions, I have Stack TV, I have Stars, I have MGM Plus, I have AMC Plus, Crave is free, I have Paramount and Standard and CTV Plus. I pay $60.94 a month for my Prime alone, right? Apple, I pay 19.53, and for Netflix, I pay 23.99.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking something like, cable used to be, let's say, for a decent cable package, it was like $150. So you're
Yeah,
close to that right now.
100%.
But you may have had more channels. Now, granted, again, you had ad filled. Everything was ad filled unless it was like a premium movie channel. And premium movie channels were at least 30 or $40 for the block of them. So, like Danny said, HBO Max, or HBO, has like 10 or something. Showtime has like 10, and Cinemax has like 3 or 4. And then there's Stars, there's Fox movies or whatever. There's all those. Yeah, no. 3 minutes. Let's talk about this together, though. But that's the point right there.
Yeah. So total is $104.46, and I have Crave, but I get Crave free with my cell phone provider. So if I didn't have that, I would be paying another $10-15 for Crave alone. So up to $120 a month for streaming already. And I have Onzo Vision, and I'm still paying for all of this stuff.
They fooled us because here in South Carolina, the only reason I voted for the lottery because they fooled us that it'd be just like Georgia. If you pick lottery here in South Carolina, your kids will go to school for free. That's half true. If they qualify for certain grants and scholarships, they'll go. But in Georgia, they go to school for free, and they sell us that same bill here in South Carolina, and it's not entirely true. So I think they're doing that same thing. It's kind of bait and switch. I guess that's a proper term for it. Yeah,
100.
get this, you're not gonna get any kind of ads. You can, and I know when it first came out, you could get DVR and that kind of stuff. I know DirecTV does it. I know, what's other, I can't think of it. I love that DVR because I can set it, record it, come back 3 hours later, 3 days later, and I can watch it. Now,
The new model for streaming is called FAST, and that stands for Free Ad Supported TV. So it's like this is the starting model for streaming services now. So what is the difference between that and what we had before? It's like we bought into this, whatever the original starting price for Netflix back in the day, $12.99, $15.99, whatever it was. We bought into that to get away from that. Sometimes they would have it at the very beginning, like one.
Yes.
Please enjoy this, sponsor, movie for ad free or whatever. They did that, and then it became everything had that, and now it's like you have to pay not to have that. So that's the big thing. It's like, and again, they're looking for every which way to get money from you, and I'm only waiting for the time they say, hey, we know that your house can hold 5 people, so we're going to charge you now for 5 people.
It's like school tax. It is crazy. You want to pay school tax, you don't have any kids. That is crazy.
Facts. 100%. And that's the problem, right? Because if it was like you're paying this and you're actually not getting no ads, okay, maybe I can fix that. I could deal with that. But the fact that we're still getting ads, and then if you don't want ads, you got to pay a little bit more, man.
Yeah,
it just doesn't sit right with me, man.
Andyland, I'm gonna just tell you. You see, you only have 2 services, and if something isn't on there, you just don't watch it. Keep that up. But if you ever get a channel like what we have, and you're really interested in investing in it, I'm not saying you have to get it, And if you don't have access to other means of getting it, you kind of have to get it if you want to talk about it.
100%.
That's that's if you ever get hard and heavy into it and get your own channel, and this is what your main topic is, the main genre. There are a
Mhm.
lot of things I'd be like, man, I ain't watching that, but if it's something, especially in the superhero, I have to kind of get that to
Yeah.
keep up with it and have an intelligent conversation.
All right,
Absolutely.
Danny.
Yes, sir.
Let's have you pick the
I
next
get
one.
number three.
Number 3. This is sweltering slump. I'm just going to put some factual stuff into this really quick. We're looking at the biggest box office summer since 2019, but the definition of a blockbuster has been completely flipped.
What are you
While
reading?
theaters,
I'm not reading it.
I'm reading from a script over here in
Oh,
front of me. I'll read this question here in just a second. I'm giving you some background on where this question came from.
okay.
While theaters are seeing recorded attendance, traditional massive budget legacy franchises like Mandalorian, Grogu, and Masters of the Universe are suffering massive 70% drops in their second weekends and failing to find an audience. Meanwhile, Gen Z and millennials are hard carrying the box office by turning to internet native, low budget horror like Kane Parsons' Backrooms that had a $118 million opening, and Curry Baker's Obsession that had a $286 million total on a $750,000 budget. They are turning into absolute juggernauts alongside heavily social nostalgia plays like The Devil Wears Prada 2. Studies show older demographic has largely abandoned theaters for streaming, meaning the youth vote decides what survives. With that in mind, looking at Gen Z rejecting massive legacy franchise like Star Wars to spend millions on internet-born horror and nostalgia sequels like Toy Story 5, has the traditional Hollywood blockbuster formula officially died, or are some in the industry just finally realizing that in 2026 you can no longer just sell an IP, you must sell a social event? You want me to read that again?
I got it.
Okay, 3 minutes. Time starts now.
Um, Looking at Gen Z rejected massive names. I don't think. I think some of it is just the economy. Some people, when the economy gets tight, and I'm one of these people, you have to make hard choices. Do I want to go and see 10 movies? And I know there in some places, in some cities, there are alternatives like what you have, where you can buy this package and go see a movie a day for 30 days. But some locations don't have that ability to do that. And I think that some people say, look, I need to go watch this movie that in 45 days or less I can watch in the comfort of my home, which I've already paid for, or I can watch bootleg or whatever vision you want to call it. Do I want to do that, or do I want to go and actually have this? And is this movie important enough for me to do it? I think in the span of a year, there are only a handful of movies that are that important, that monumental, that must see movie, so to speak, that people choose to do that. We've all taken a back seat since we first started these channels. The movies that we select, the movies that we choose to wait whatever amount of days or watch on other means that may or may not be legal. But I don't think it's actually a generational thing. I think it's just a everything has a season. There was a time when I think we said on the earlier last video. There was a time when cowboy movies was the thing. There was a time when mobster movies was the thing. There was a time when action movie was the thing. There was a time when MCU was the thing. MCU is still holding on this because they have such a wide and popular um, fan base. But we've seen firsthand last year that 3 MC movies came out back to back in less than a 6 month time period, and all three flopped. That's almost unheard of. We've seen something that the IP, the juggernaut that Star Wars is, flop. I don't even think it's made 400 million yet, and that is unheard of. Usually, when a Star Wars movie comes out, you can always write it down. That's going to be $1 billion plus. So I think it's just a time of the season, along with bad writing, along with people whose direction isn't directly tethered to what the fan base wants, and they're leaning more on what they want, their likes and dislikes versus the fan likes and dislikes. So I think it's a combination of everything. And I think it's a perfect storm why the industry seems to be dying down and why we are not getting the support in the movies. It's a whole combination of several things, not just one thing in particular.
Okay. To your point, Mandalorian Grogu right now is sitting at 322 and basically a half million. So 322.5. And let's see here. Masters of the Universe is sitting at just over 100 million. So there's your numbers right there. And also, if you want to see it, they're not very hopeful right now for Supergirl. Neither am I still. So we can talk about that after you guys see it.
I'm going tomorrow.
Nzo, 3 minutes time starts now.
Well, again, like I said, I think Danny has a good point. Like a lot of these people that are doing these movies or going to these movies are actually waiting the 45 days to be able to watch it at home. And especially like just in the last month, He-Man I went to go see. Going to see Supergirl. Michael was seen. And I can't remember what other movies, but like 4 or 5 movies in the theater, and it cost me like $50 each for 2 tickets for me and my son to go see these movies. So that's a lot of money when you add it up. A lot of people can't afford to do that anymore. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think the blockbuster movie has died. I just think that you're not going to get as many blockbusters as we used to do back in the day, right? Back in the day, you used to go to a movie and all summer is just blockbuster after blockbuster, blockbuster. That people were able to afford to go to the movies. But now, I mean, Michael was a blockbuster. Toy Story's Power 5 is probably going to be a blockbuster. Uh, Supergirl, I don't know if you want to consider that a blockbuster by how much money it makes, depending on, right? But if it goes up to $400 million, even though it might be a flop by the standards of making profit, to me that's still a blockbuster, right? Still made a decent amount of money.
How much?
400 million, I'm saying.
Wait. I'm going to pause this here real quick. Go back to you here. I'll let you start back up. So if it makes 400 million, you're considering that a blockbuster, but Mandalorian and Grogu is almost at 400 million, and it's a flop.
Yeah, okay. So I say blockbuster, right, as the money it makes, but profit wise, they're flops, right?
Okay.
So to me, you go ahead, Danny.
One quick thing for Star Wars, that's a flop. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well, yeah,
No,
okay,
100%, 100%, it's a flop, but profit wise and according to Star Wars numbers, it's a flop. But if you're talking about making about 400 to 500 million dollars, that's a blockbuster movie because not a lot of movies will make that, right? You get some of these movies make 100 million, 200 million, but 4 or 5, yeah, that's considered a blockbuster. Just a flop profit wise.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting what you're saying is then in your context that Mandalorian and Grogu, if it hits 400, is a blockbuster, but it is also a flop. Just like Supergirl would be a blockbuster at 400
but
million.
It's a flop because profit wise, I'm saying it's a flop, right? But if you're making over $400 million, I think you could be considered a summer blockbuster movie, right? If you look back in the day, like a lot of these movies that were considered blockbuster movies, and you could start my timer again.
Okay,
but a lot of these movies back in the day that were considered blockbuster movies were making about 300-400 million dollars, right? Reason why you consider them a profit is because they were like 80 million to make, 100 million to make, something like that. Now, the reason why these movies are flopping is because you're paying 250 million to make a movie, and then you're only making back like 400 million, right? That's a flop, 100%. So technically, yeah, I would say they're blockbusters, but they're blockbusters that flopped in the box office. So if you understand what I mean by that, but at the end of the day, I think that when it comes to going to movies, people are picking the movies that they're going to see. Back in the day, you would just go, "Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie." Didn't even matter what movie it was. It was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You know what I mean? Kindergarten Cop made money. It was a pretty good movie, but
Yeah.
it's Kindergarten Cop. You know what I mean? Like it was
Mhm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. A lot of these actors used to be able to carry these movies just by their name alone, and that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't matter who you are. Denzel Washington, Ryan Gosling. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're not people. The Rock. People are not going to see movies just because of The Rock's name anymore, right? He has to be in a good movie. It has to. People think it's good before they go and see it. But if it was back in the '80s, The Rock's name would have been butter. Every movie he made would have. The last person I believe that people went to go see his movies because of his name is Will Smith. He was the last of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Smith, Tom Cruise, kind of in that same category.
Um,
To me.
I would disagree with Tom Cruise because if it's not a Mission Impossible movie or anything like that, it usually flops.
I don't know if that's totally true, but I mean, I think if it was Mission Impossible, it was more likely to be a success. That's why he stuck with them forever. He didn't want to do two, and when he did two and it took off, he was signed.
One of them I definitely believe, like I know for me, I think for you as well, Chris. Whenever we heard James Bond, we automatically.
Mhm.
But I don't think I remember seeing. I can't remember the last one I seen.
That's James Bond.
I can't remember. I remember the. I mean, I can't remember parts of the movie because I just was not a fan of the actor that played James Bond. To me, he did not look like James Bond in my mind. I never read the books. I heard some people say, for instance, that he was he the way he looked was exactly like James Bond, and I don't like that. I like the Pierce Brosnan, the
Yeah, I get you.
what's the other guy name? I think the
Sean
best
Connery, Pierce
Sean Connery.
Brosnan,
Oh,
Timothy Dalton,
not Timothy Dalton.
Roger Moore.
Sean Connery and Pierce Brosnan are my favorite two Bonds.
Yeah, I see that.
'Cause I think they
Okay.
had the right look, the right um, the mojo, laissez faire, whatever you want to call it. To me, they just embody that character the way that I saw it in my mind's eye. But I don't want to get too far off the topic.
All right. Let's see here.
You want to talk about that?
Notes. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
It's not a tuma. It's not a tuma. That's what she says. Okay. We start here. I think that you guys are both similarly right in what you're saying. I don't think it's the end of the blockbuster. I do think Danny mentioned it, where you got to be smart about it. We've talked about this. I think all of us have talked about it. Strike when the iron is hot. When you go with Mandalorian and Grogu 2 whatever years after your last season, it makes no sense. And again, I think movies like X-Files, the original X-Files movie that came in between, I think it was season 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. It hit because it continued the TV series in movie format, and it didn't feel like an episode. It felt like it was a bridge between two seasons, and it worked really well. If they had done that, and I think I've also mentioned, if they had done that with Mandalorian and Grogu and done it as a bridge between season 2 and 3 after the Luke moment and all this other stuff going on, and then they reintroduce or show Boba Fett and his story of getting out of the pit and all this other stuff, if you do that, you set up an event, and this is what this is kind of about: social events or an event you want to go see. Too many of these things now are kind of after the point, and I think we all three talked about it. I think Nzo, you said it, where we weren't sure what He-Man or Masters of the Universe was going to do because is it relevant enough? Some of us, like Nzo and myself, liked that movie because I'm sitting there going, like, I love it. I love what they're showing. It felt better than the original movie they made, which was complete crap. But at the same time, it appeals to people like me, my age. I grew up with it, those things. It's like, so does that appeal to, like it says, Gen Z? Gen Z are the young people who have the chance to go out and do things. And movies now know that they don't have to spend a lot of money to do that. I think Backrooms and Obsession both show that. And if you've seen Obsession, it's like, okay, whatever.
Obsession was garbage.
Well, that's probably because most of us here have had a relationship like that, and it's not funny, it's not scary, it's just like, oh my God, that's sad. No, it's just
garbage.
It's just like, yeah, Dandelion's right. You got to hit the zeitgeist. You got to hit right. And again, strike when the iron's hot. You got something, get a movie out there. They should have. Maybe that's the big thing right now, is that Hollywood falls behind what it wants to put out there. It's like, hey, we got this great idea, and then it takes 2 to 3 years to get it going, when maybe back 15, 20 years ago, they would be ready for it. They'd be like, we got to go. And then, I mean, rarities are things like Terminator. Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, that's a rarity. I don't even think that most movies could have done that back in the 90s from the 80s, but they did it. So that's a rarity nowadays. But I think it's definitely very much, you have to strike when the iron is hot. You have to make sure that you're paying attention to your writing, and you can't wait forever. It has to be relevant to right about now.
I got a name for that.
Mhm.
It's called the Kanye West effect. Kanye West at one time was hot, and people have called him a musical genius, or whatever they want to call him. But he think everything that comes out of his mouth and everything that he made was genius, and it wasn't. And I think sometimes these movie makers think that whatever they put out there, that they're going to be fans that's just going to accept it and say that it's good or great or whatever the case may be, or whatever word you want to use to describe it, as being excellent, whatever, a masterpiece or globally accepted or whatever the case may be, and it's not. And then when they get the pushback, then sometimes, not all times, they get defensive and it can cause issues. But I call it the Kanye West effect.
I believe that. 3 minutes. Let's talk about this a little more. So we're all thinking that this is more not the movies like Marvel or Star Wars. It's more, they just got to be smarter about it.
Well, it's not just that. The movies have to be good, right? You can't just think you're going to put on, because, and I think that's what a lot of these companies are doing too, right? You think just because you slap the Star Wars name on something that people are going to go see it because of Star Wars. Back in the day, that might have been a thing, but not anymore. People are not going to go just to see a Star Wars movie because it's Star Wars. And I don't think, what's the new one? The fighter one coming out, Starfighter. I don't think that's going to be any good. I don't think that's going to make any money. And I definitely don't think the Rey trilogy, the new Rey trilogy, if they do that, is going to make any money as well. I just don't see it.
I don't. That thing's been in and out of production so many times. I can't imagine that it's going to do anything. But never know. But yeah, no, I think that it is product and the quality of the product. But that's what I'm trying to say, is I don't think Marvel's necessarily dead. I don't think Star Wars is necessarily dead. Although the more crap you put out, the harder it is to resurrect something. Again, Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, gold. Terminator 3, not as much gold. Terminator, then they went off on this tangent of, let's see the future war, let's do this, let's do that. Then they changed the whole spectrum of it. I can make it work, but most people who are into that movie aren't going to make it work. They're going to be like, what in the world am I watching here? This has nothing to do with what I've already seen. And by the time you're done with it, nobody wants to watch it anymore. And that, I think that's where the problem is the more crap you put out, even for world building. So let's go to the Marvel type of stuff. Even in world building instances, parts of these movies could be scenes in another movie instead of a whole movie. You could really do the world building, but in lesser numbers. So you're not doing all these things, because again, 6 in a row, 6 within 6 months or whatever it was, like Danny said. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
And here's another thing how you know it's not just about. Here's another thing how you know it's not just about like the IPs or the movies being trash, right? Because when the movies are good, like for example, I know Danny don't like it, but is not a fan of it anyways. But Masters of the Universe, go look at its Rotten Tomato scores, right? They're good on both sides, and yet word of mouth still didn't make people go see the movie. You know,
I think because not enough people, normies, were familiar with the IP, and I think also too that the baby boomers are all but dead, so we're next in line. And
hey, watch your mouth.
I'm just stating facts. I don't like I don't like it any more than you do,
Yeah,
but
no, I don't.
it's the reality. But that's what I think hurt Master of the Universe.
I agree with you that, and I'll say it until the cows come home. The Kevin Smith Netflix thing killed it as well.
I don't agree with that.
That was trash.
'Cause I
It
actually like
killed it.
it better than the movie.
Of course you did. I know,
I'm
but
just
you know,
saying.
there was one that was on Netflix.
Yeah,
Where
it looked
like they
more
were like,
cartoonish.
yeah, where and like one of them like had like roller skates or something
Yeah,
like that. That one was fire.
when each
That
friend
one was
shared the power.
yes, yes. That one was fire. That one was better than the Kevin Smith one. I was like, yo, this is
I,
pretty good.
yeah, I mean that's like tomato on that one. I like both of them, but to me the best one, not even the original. They should have, in my opinion, gone more with the one when he was fighting the Snake Man. To me, that was the best version of He Man I've seen. I know we grew up on
Uh,
the 80 ones.
the 2000 one you're talking about.
Yeah, but the villain was the Snake Man, not necessarily Skeletor.
I got you.
And it to me that one was really good. I don't know why it ended so abruptly, but I would have tailored more on that because it was more modern. He Man had a different look. I think it was more relevant in people younger than us minds. People under 30 don't know anything about the original He Man.
Agreed.
They don't. They're not excited about She-Ra. They don't care nothing about Orko. They don't know nothing about Evelyn. And
Agreed.
most people that do recognize it, and there is a very, I think it's an unfair disdain for Jay Leto, and he was the best part of the movie.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was.
But so here's a
Um,
question I'll ask you then. If that's the case for He-Man, why do you think Transformers succeeds?
I think transform. I think people can
because the
relate
toys are
to
still
more
around.
the robots and that transforming. That was cool. You may not like the script, but the transformations, what they transform into, how they did it, man, that was on point. That was on fire. And as far as the look of it, I think it looked better than He Man, in my opinion. And even though Beast Wars was a definite flop, man, they look just like the cartoon in my mind. I remember I was like, how did they pull this off? And it looked good, but the story was so crappy that it just didn't. But that's the only one that was not successful financially, in my mind,
Um,
if I'm correct.
I think it's also the fact that it's like you said, robots, cars, boys will always play with those. Little boys will always play with that. And
Like I said, the transformations was fire. You may not like the
yeah,
story.
but
I know
the
Anza
staying power of it,
don't
the
like
staying power of
humans.
Transformers over He-Man, because He-Man has had resurgence, but I think Transformers has always been around. It's like so, even in the '90s, like you said, they had Beast Wars and things like that. They've always had something going on. He-Man did not.
Yeah.
Yo, so first off, I liked Beast Wars. I think Beast Wars is
I didn't
fire.
say, yeah,
No, I like it. I think it's
I'm
good. I'm
saying
not
you
going
and
to.
There's a select few compared to the other ones, and they didn't make
Yeah,
as
yeah,
much
yeah,
money as the other Transformers. I thought it was
yeah,
cool
yeah.
because I grew up on Beast Wars. I was like, man, this is right here. They look good, but I think there were other Transform movies that were better.
Um, a few that were better, but Bumblebee wasn't one of them.
no.
But see, what I
All right,
like too, voice actors, man. Whenever Spock was cool when he did that. Orson Welles, the guy that does
Okay,
Optimus. So to me.
Yeah, I didn't like that
All right.
one, to be honest.
I'm going to set this last question up, and then I'll read the question out for you. Last week, the U.S. granted massive immediate economic concessions to Iran, including full oil sanctions waiver in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire and the promise of a toll-free reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. But just days later, the reality is a chaotic mirage. The main channel remains mined. Iran is already threatening to close it again over the ongoing fighting in Lebanon, and ships are only sneaking through a U.S.-backed southern route. Meanwhile, the hardest permanent details of Iran's nuclear program were conveniently kicked down the road into the 60-day negotiating window that perfectly aligns with the final push towards the U.S. November elections. With that in mind, looking at the messy reality on the water where the Strait of Hormuz is still mined and Iran is still threatening new closures over Lebanon incidents, did the Trump administration rush into giving up its biggest piece of economic leverage just to manufacture a paper peace and stabilize gas prices ahead of the midterms? And does anyone on this panel genuinely believe that this memorandum, which is all it is, it's not even a full-on deal or an agreement, it's a memorandum saying, okay, this is what we want, this is what you're going to give us in theory. Do you think that this memorandum is actually the end of the war rather than just a 60-day political band-aid? Is this deal just a mirage? Who wants to take it first?
Well, you
Let
love,
Danny go first because I got to go pee.
Okay, very good. Danny, 3 minutes. Time starts now.
you love these questions that make my head hurt that I'm really not focusing on because
You know
this
I got to
this,
throw. I'm going to
this
pause real quick. You know I got to throw something in that's
yeah,
thought provoking.
I know.
All right, go ahead.
This is going to be this question, this answer response I'm going to give you is directly connected to my faith. In fact, I had Bible study this afternoon, and we were talking something about this, and I believe 1,000% that whatever God's plan is, He moves and uses people to wherever His perfect plan is, and these decisions that are being made, and people are saying, I've heard things that Trump is a antichrist, and Trump is this, and Trump is that, and administration is this, administration that. Um, my opinions are relevant to God's plan, and I don't know what it is, but I can 1,000% say, other than the uptick in gas prices in the grocery store, my lifestyle hasn't really changed. I don't focus on political things that I don't have a voice in, or anything I have power to do. The only thing I have the power to do is go and cast my vote, which I do every year, every election, and then I put it in God's hand. I don't know what kind of tricks Trump may be doing, what Iran may be doing, but this has been a war that's been going on for centuries, for as God's people versus whomever, or these different um, conflicts, and there's nothing I can do. I was a part of a conflict, Desert Storm, and through the grace of God, I was able to come back and make it from that. And all I can truly say, and what I truly believe 100%, is that whatever God has intended is going to happen, and there's nothing I can do about it but sit back and pray and continue to ask for God's grace, mercy, and understanding, and hope that whatever His plan is for the United States, for Iran, for any country in the world, that I can survive from it. It will strengthen my faith in Him, and that I have no idea what Trump is doing, none at all. Um, from the human aspect of it, I think he is the most non-presidential president we ever had. I think some of his policies and his way of thinking is totally crazy and does not make sense to me. But the majority of the United States put him in office. So in biblical times, when people made dumb decisions and stupid decisions, they were punished for it. So I'm assuming that same thing is going on now. I believe that same thing is going on. The United States made silly decisions, and we are possibly paying for it. This may be part of the punishment. This may be part of the retribution. I don't know. But I don't know whether or not this is just a band-aid, a mirage. I don't have any idea. All I have 100% is that God's plan is going to be God's plan, and there's nothing Danny can do about it.
All right. Very good. Nzo, you back?
Yes, I'm back.
All right. 3 minutes. You know the question.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, if it's God's plan, I have no faith in it right now. I'll tell you that absolutely. Because Trump has been doing this lying and crap. Yo, I'm going to end the war and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then 2 weeks later, oh, well, the peace treaty is ended, right? And we all know the real reason why all of this stuff is happening. It has to do with Iran. Not Iran, I'm sorry. Israel, right? Israel, for whatever reason, seems to have America in their pocketbook, and they are just dictating whatever they want to do. Whenever there's supposed to be a peace treaty, you have people on CNN and all of these networks coming out saying, no, we can't have a peace treaty. We can't have this and we can't have that. And we got to have this war. We got to. Netanyahu has been using the same reason to start a war for centuries. Well, not centuries, but for years, right? You go back to, I think it's like 1980, or there's a video where every time he's talking about Iran, it's like, oh, we got to make sure we stop these people from getting weapons of mass destructions. You said the same thing about them 20 years ago that you're saying now. And the only reason why all of this stuff is happening is because we have a damn idiot in office. Well, you have a damn idiot in office. I'm Canadian, so I don't have to worry about that clown. But yes, you have a damn fool in office. You have someone who's in there that can just simply say what he wants to, does what he wants to, with no consequences, right? Laws don't matter to him. Whatever he wants to do, he's going to find a way to circumvent the law to get what he wants done. This is the same guy who is actually trying to get rid of Black history and, erase our history from the record books, right? Taking down, monuments and changing museums, and wants to have it in schools where they've been saying like Black people have learned how to do certain things because of slavery, and it's just bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. So when we talk about peace treaty, until there's an actual peace treaty where people have actually stopped fighting, then I'm never going to believe anything that this clown says. It's just not going to happen, right? I have friends who, well, at least one of my friends, who had to leave Lebanon before this shit happened. He had to leave Lebanon and come over here because he knew that this war in Lebanon was going to get worse. And right now, it's extremely, extremely, extremely bad over there. They're bombing everything. So yeah, fuck Donald Trump and fuck Israel.
Okay. Very, very good. All right. So basically, I don't believe this is over because, again, like Anza said, they keep jumping down this, and it's always 60 days. Oh, 60 days, 60-day ceasefires, or ceasefire, all this stuff. The longer he pushes this off, whether or not he actually is going to get anything done, I think what he's trying to do is push this off as long as he can to get close to the November election. And I think he believes, now I don't believe it will happen because I don't think Iran's going to play the game. Now, if it were Russia or another country, perhaps they would play the game. But the game that I think Trump wants to play is let's get as close to November, right before those polls open, right before, everything has to happen. I'm going to swoop in. We're going to make a deal. It's going to be awesome, and everybody's going to love me for it, and everybody's going to listen to who I say to vote for, and I'm going to get all of the people that I'm backing to go and win their seat in Congress. I think he's trying to play that game. What I think is going to happen is he's going to come across it, and then Iran will only offer him this type of a shitty deal where they're going to say, we get everything we want. You want the Strait of Hormuz open? Here you go. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't the Strait of Hormuz open before this? Who got out of the nuclear deal? Because, man, he is totally talking about we need to make sure they never have a nuclear weapon. Wait a minute, though. Weren't you the one that ripped up the nuclear deal that Obama did?
100%.
So basically, the only thing he can hope for is to get back to what Obama already did. And I don't care what you think about Obama. You may not like him as a president, whatever the point is. This man has a problem with him. Trump hates Obama, and now the only thing Trump can hope to gain out of this is only to get back to what Obama had. So how is that good for him? There's the problems, and he's trying to play this long game. I don't think he's going to. He has a 36 to 38% disapproval or approval rating, almost 60% disapproval. There's a chance that he's going to get lower than Harry S. Truman, the man that dropped the atomic bomb and ended World War II. His numbers were at 22% in February of 1952, and that's the lowest it's ever been. Richard Nixon has had 24%. Bush got down to 19% for a short time. His numbers are abysmal.
100%.
Congress right now is at 10 and 24. So I believe it's 10% for, I want to say it's 10% like in the Gallup poll and 24% in Ballotpedia. This is abysmal numbers. If he hopes to pull this out, he should have done it now. I don't think he's going to. And again, I'm not going to say where to vote for, but if you don't like what's going on in America right now, the only answer is to vote Democrat. And I don't believe that. I don't believe in only voting that way. But I will tell you that he's on the precipice of, honestly, probably the closest person next to Nixon who's ever gotten impeached. Because if both the House and Senate flip, which I don't know if that's really possible, but the worse this gets for him, the worse it is with everybody that uses his name as a backing. It's like, look, he likes me. He likes me. The more this happens, the worse it is for the Republican Party, or what is known as the Republican Party today, because most of the Republicans who were Republicans have left because they don't agree with this guy. And now he has even some of those people praying that they can save their jobs by saying they don't agree with this deal. So I really don't know what his end game is, but let's go 3 more minutes really quick. And Danny, I get the God thing. I get that. Yes. In the grand scope of things, God's plan is God's plan, and this is God's plan because it's happening. But, you know, we're in a country right now where they just took away more voting rights from people. People who are handicapped and need help to vote, which they used to do, now can't do it. I think it's in Arkansas or Tennessee, something like that, which means more states that are conservative are going to go after that. So now less people will have the right to vote. They're taking voter rights away. They're taking women's rights away. They're taking citizens' rights away, and people who could come into the country's rights away. I mean, think about it. If they end birthright citizenship is for American citizens too. By the way, if you were born on a military base outside of the United States to American parents, you have birthright citizenship. That's what that is. So if they take that away, technically you could be no longer considered an American citizen. 3 minutes. Let's go. Let's talk about this. I mean, this is crazy crap.
Yeah, I want to say, just because I said what I said about religion and what I think about it does not mean that I necessarily agree. Which 95% of stuff he does, I don't agree with it. I think, like I said, and I will reiterate this, he's one of the most ignorant and unpresidential presidents I believe in. I personally don't believe what he's saying, but at the same time, I stand by what I said earlier. And It's crazy. It's a very trying time. But if you go back and if you are a believer and if you are a theologian and if you study the Bible, what we see now has happened over and over again in several different parts of the world in several different countries. Um, you don't have to necessarily agree with it, but like I said, if you're a believer, then you've seen this before, you read about this before. Um, and I'm a firm believer that he's going to get his. I don't know how, when, or whatever the case may be, but that's what I believe. That's just Danny. I'm not getting in debate with anybody else about that aspect of it.
Oh yeah. When I was like you have faith and I don't, I wasn't saying anything about you or anything like that. I'm just saying in general. I just personally,
Yeah,
everything is so. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah, like everything is just so messed up. It's like it's hard to be sitting there and be like, "Oh yeah, I have faith that it's gonna work out." Or I had faith that it was gonna work out, that America wasn't gonna be stupid enough to put Trump in power again, and they sure enough did. You know what I mean? So it's just like I don't trust anything he says. I don't trust anything he does, and yeah, I have called him the Antichrist. I believe he's as close to it as we'll possibly ever see. Because for someone that does nothing but tries to divide people, has to be on demon time.
I
Has
definitely
to be on demon
believe
time.
that he has access to the Epstein file, and
One
he's
hundred.
using that to his advantage. I definitely
Well, I
believe
mean,
that.
I wonder if that's part of the issue right there. Is everybody's talking about this war and the other stuff going on. He's got enough things going on. He's playing hide. He's playing the shell game. He's hiding things. People want the Epstein files. Okay, they're talking about the Epstein files. Let's bring this over here and make them think this is it. And now they are talking about this.
I
Well, I
can
don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's talk about this. And he's using multiple things going on geopolitically and every other places. He's using multiple things to fully try to play out. But again, how many balls can you juggle at one time?
I'm gonna say this. This might be a poor example, but this reminds me a lot of Palpatine,
Facts.
where he figured out a way to stay in office longer. I don't know the
Facts.
Constitution well enough to know if there's a loophole that a president can have a third term, but if that is, or if there's something that the Supreme Court that he put in place can rectify, extend, flip, whatever, it's gonna be happening. I would not be surprised if something come up, a rabbit be pulled out the hat, and this clown stays in office past the 2 terms. I
One
would not be
hundred
surprised.
percent. Palpatine is the exact person that I would say exactly how Trump is trying to be. Right. The problem with him is he sees how these North Koreans treat their leader, and he wants to be treated like that. You know what I mean? He really
But
wants
that
to be
works
treated
there
like that.
because he scares that's been years of fear and oppression.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened here. So now he's fighting that. And he's not
Yeah.
young enough to hold on to that office long enough. And I guarantee you, I don't believe there's any person in this country who's a part of the military, part of the police force, or part of like the overall majority of government will not let him stay in there. And I think he's trying to figure out how to do it. I don't think he will.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was a nice little romp for an hour about all sorts of fun stuff. Had to end it with a thought-provoking one there. But we're going to go around the horn again and have you guys talk about your channels. We're not doing the Final Five Fact or Fiction today. I had to update my BIOS on my computer, and that locked down my D drive and didn't allow me to get into it. But we got
Chris
back into
just knows this because I'm in the lead and he doesn't want to prove it to everybody, right? So he's just.
Oh no, Danny, I think I'd have to go look at it, but I think Danny will agree with me on this. I don't think you're in the lead. I think we are.
I doubt that.
A long shot.
I doubt that. I'm so used to winning everything. There's no way I'm not.
What?
Yes, just
What's
like
that again?
You heard me.
And I said yes. He's used
the
to
last
winning
contest.
everything like the
Who
Spurs.
was the victor?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I mean, that was one out of how many, right? I mean, we
Don't
can't
matter.
win them all.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, we can't.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Ah, yes. All right, guys.
You wanna do
Go
the
ahead.
truck thing tonight?
No, it's it was Anzo's turn this month. So
Yeah, we'll do it on next.
we'll get he'll get next month
Okay.
on his, and then we'll be back to you, then me, or however we're gonna do it. All right, Danny, tell everybody about yourself and what you got
You can
going on.
find me on my channel, The Road to Wisdom, on Mondays and Fridays, somewhere between 6:45 and 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, you can find me on the Hangout, which will be 8 o'clock tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 8 p.m. on Sundays on Storms Live. Great show.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Anzo, tell everybody about yourself.
Yes, Bigger Ford Entertainment. There will be no OOC tomorrow because I will be going to see Supergirl, but we'll be back on Friday to be doing Saturday to do some From stuff. It's also my birthday on Saturday, so I may do something. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, definitely make sure to check us out.
Maybe randomness at its finest. Maybe we'll see. All right.
Maybe.
I am Chris Knight. The Real Review 3000 is my channel. Chaos Central here
Depends.
is where I work with these three guys. And you can find me on other channels like Gen X Theater and I don't know. Just look for me. I jump around all over the place. And with that said, guys, I appreciate you guys being here. And I think that's it.
Are you going
Peace.
to the Fourth Theater?
What? Who?
What's that?
Last time you said the theater you went to was too far. You got to go to that one to see it?
No. It's not my regular theater tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Well, take it easy, guys. Have a good night. Everybody out there, stay safe. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.